David Fincher's back with The Killer, and this is an absolute cold, calculated perfection of a film that I cannot implore you enough to search out and go see in select theaters this week. And if you, for some reason, can't find a theater near you playing this film, then absolutely mark a date in November to watch this on streaming, because The Killer was everything and more than I expected, and hands down became instantly one of my favorite David Fincher films of all time. And that's saying a lot, because every time David Fincher comes out with a movie, most of the time, specifically after Seven and Fight Club, it just comes down to be a cold, calculated, again, masterpiece. I mean, when you really look at his filmography, he only has a couple misses, and this is just him returning to his roots in so many different avenues, but in a way, kind of having this weird, meticulous humor to it all. And I have a lot of thoughts on The Killer, so make sure to leave your thoughts down below. Hit that like and subscribe button for more. And with that said, let's dive into what The Killer is about, because it's about, after a fateful near miss, an assassin battles his employers and himself on an international manhunt he insists isn't personal. This is directed again by David Fincher and stars the likes of Michael Fassbender. Now, something I actually kind of want to equivalate this to is, if you've ever played the Hitman video games real fast, this is like the perfect adaptation of what one of those games should be in movie format. It's not all guns blazing, it is relying on stealth, stalking, and of course, one gun and a silencer, and maybe the occasional fight scene here and there. But what I was really impressed with within The Killer was just how I said those specific things: cold and calculated. This film feels dark. It is cold. It has this very much winterish feel to it, not just in the setting and the tone, but specifically in all the different avenues that it takes Michael Fassbender's character, and how you really are put into the shoes of a hitman. The best way that I can really explain this film is you're in an assassin's worst day. What happens when you miss the shot? And you go throughout like the next 5 days of his life and how that all occurred to him. And you truly feel for the entire runtime that you are in his shoes. You are in his mannerisms. And a lot of that is David Fincher just being cold and calculated with his direction. And I think there's like this nice meta-ness to it all, of course, of being a director and how calculated you have to be with certain sequences. The cinematography shots, the editing, the sound design. All of that is perfect beyond belief. Like, the cinematography in here is exquisite. A lot of it is darker noir type feeling situations, but they use this silhouette, and I just sat there in like certain sequences, specifically one that takes place in Florida, and I was just like, this is insanely beautiful. Insanely scary at the same time, and very haunting to what he is doing. Specifically, even when you see him stalking someone, seeing what their personal routine is, trying to kind of coldly calculate where they're supposed to go. All those sorts of things with the cinematography, brilliant. The editing and actually making this movie move at such a quick pace, excellent. And the sound design. I mean, this is probably like, I know Oppenheimer had like some impeccable sound design. I think in some way, shape, and form, this is my favorite sound design of 2023. And I say that because it takes a lot to ground you in someone's footsteps and make you understand and feel how they're doing. And it's little minute details of him putting in headphones, and when it's from his POV, you hearing the music, and when it's you watching him from a distance, you hear the music like you would be if you were in the room with him. To even certain sequences with a fight sequence that will remain in my mind for the rest of the year. I mean, this is one of the best sequences in the entire year of 2023 when it comes down to filmmaking, and probably like top 5 favorite Fincher sequences for me. And there's a lot that you could go into his entire filmography, but this entire fight sequence, from the sound design to the cinematography once again, and the way that it puts you in his shoes, and how even Atticus and Trent Reznor's score in here, and the way that it kind of just has this very electronic feel to it, adds so much to that one scene. It had me on edge. I literally jumped in my seat. I'm like, oh my god, this is insane. And the way that he builds it up, the way that entire moment goes, I mean, when you get to that sequence, you will be the same way. And I loved every single thing about that scene. And again, that sound design makes you feel everything. And usually in fight sequences, if I can't see what's going on, this sequence does take place in the dark, I usually kind of roll my eyes at it. But David Fincher uses those silhouettes, that darkness, to the highest degree. And because of the sound design, I feel like I never missed a single thing about it. That's as much as I can say without getting into spoilers about that sequence. But if you're like me, you will love it. And on top of that, another thing that I really want to claim David Fincher for, and even the writing for it all, is within The Killer, I feel like we haven't seen a really good hitman or assassin film in the 21st century that actually kind of typecasts and touches on how our world is nowadays. With phones, apps, social media, cameras, Amazon, Uber Eats, DoorDash, all these sorts of things. Michael Fassbender's character plays off that. Like, he actually uses those, and in a weird way kind of shows anyone could be this man. You never know. Whether you're in a store, whether you're driving someone, whether you walk past someone, you never know what someone's doing. It'll make you kind of pay more attention to when you're going through an airport or going through a store and what someone might be thinking or getting up to. And just the simplest things of him going on Amazon and deciding to buy something on there to use to kill someone is insane. And those little things, those little details all add into the meta-ness of this film that weirdly has this wicked humor to it that I loved. And it's dark, but I love it. Like, in a way, this is like a dark comedy, but a dark comedy mixed with a thriller. I don't know, there's so much to it. And all of this really works because of Michael Fassbender, who I think is like top 10 actors working today, who has just had a really bad streak of movies, to be honest with you. But this, easily jumps up to the top 3 performances of his entire career. I was taken back by him. And I think one of my favorite things about his performance is how a lot of it is not, it's all within his head. It's all what he's thinking. It's monologues. It's not him actually speaking to someone or talking to himself. He's talking to himself inside his head. So a lot of his performance, while dialogue heavy and most of the time just him speaking to himself, a lot of it's his mannerisms, a lot of his everything he's doing. And I think his performance works so well because of the direction and the script he has, but he is perfectly casted in here. Like, I genuinely could not see anyone else playing this, and the only issue I can actually typecast to him is that I just wanted more. I understand that this is just like one little thing of his life, but I would love a prequel. I would love other things in this world. Like, David Fincher does such great world building in here, not even with just Michael Fassbender's character, but everything around him, that I absolutely became obsessed with this movie instantly. To the point where, like, the movie comes out and I went to a press screening and I honestly thought about buying tickets to go again this weekend. A busy weekend, but I want to see this movie again and again and again. And it kills me that this might be the only time I'll ever get to see it in theaters. Because there's no way in hell that any surround sound I ever have will ever match what this film gave me in excitement. So definitely need that Criterion Collection, please. I honestly could not find an issue, at least personally for me, of what I would have wanted differently in this movie. I can see some people, if we do want to get into what I think other people could be complaining about, is just depth. There's a little bit of depth to his character that you get to know in the first 20, 30 minutes. And yeah, is it surface level? Sure. But it didn't bother me because I didn't feel like that was the point of this movie. Some people might want a little bit more in story development and character-wise, but I got enough of what I wanted, and I just wanted to live in this guy's shoes and get this experience that movies should be giving you. Video games should be giving you. TV shows should be delivering. And these are the experiences that you thrive to go to the movies, and this is a reason to go to the movies. This is a reason to go and venture out. And again, if for some reason you can't, it's a reason to stay in and watch it on Netflix. Like, this is one of my favorite things Netflix has ever produced, and I absolutely loved The Killer, and I think this is one of the best David Fincher films ever. So with that said, I'm going to give The Killer an A+. Can't believe how much I love this. I thought I was going to go into this and just really like it, but I walked out going, holy shit, that was awesome. That was awesome. beyond belief too. So let me know down below what your guys' thoughts are. Is there a theater playing near you with The Killer? If you're not able to see that, are you excited to see it on Netflix? Let me know down below. And of course, until next time, stay classy.